Okay, so in this video, I would like to talk a little bit more into how our body talks to us in regards to, are we in alignment with the cosmos, in harmony with the cosmos, and in alignment with our soul purpose? And in regards to intuition or getting our yes-no answers. And I've talked about this before in other videos, but I wanted to make this a focalized video on this topic. And I'll try not to make it too long. So, as I've said before, the cells in our body function via cosmic consciousness. And when they are functioning in harmony with the cosmos, then our body feels strong, healthy, and in alignment. Our vital energy is flowing, and we have health. But the moment we have ego thoughts, are entertaining our ego emotions and all those worrying thoughts, or the moment we decide and we're taking a wrong path, then our cells begin to weaken. This is the whole theory behind kinesiology and muscle testing, or the pendulum. So, you know that you are going in the wrong direction in life, or not in the present moment, if you find yourself tripping, stumbling, dropping things, bumping into walls. And if you don't pay attention to those clues, then of course you develop illnesses. Okay? So we've got to really learn to listen to our body. Okay? Yeah, and you can kind of, illustration of this is kind of like being a puppet with all the different strings. You can imagine having cosmic strings attached to all the cells of our bodies. So we're being held up and we're moving, we're flowing along in the universe. And then all of a sudden we go, oh, forget this spiritual journey. This is exactly what I did. I'm going to start a new business. And then all of a sudden, one of our arms or our legs or something drops, we get weak, and we sprain an ankle, or we trip and we fall. You know, right then and there, that is the wrong direction. Okay? So if you are experiencing consistent or chronic health issues, like myself, I am not a stranger to any of these concepts, then your thinking is way out of alignment. You may have this consistent thought of, oh, if I move, or if I get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or get a new job, or start this business, or do this or do that, and you're kind of constantly thinking about that. Number one, that's resistance to what is in your environment, and you're projecting yourself out into all these different arenas that's not in the now, and the now is where cosmic consciousness is. But you can guarantee, if you have that ill health, all this thinking that you're thinking about is out of alignment. It's the wrong direction. Okay? All right, we get that. Everybody knows that. So let's talk about intuition, or getting yes-no responses in your body, how to recognize them. Now, I've been working in a study group, and this week, the thing I'm studying is intuition and clarity. And we all know what intuition is, but trying to describe it to somebody, if somebody didn't know what that is, how do you describe it to somebody? And so I asked my higher self, or I inquired with my higher mind, or however you want to call it. And what I got was inspired feelings. And I thought, well, okay, inspired feelings. What does that mean? And then it hit me. Inspire. Inspire meaning an inhalation, and then feeling. Let's see if I can explain this. So, an intuition or a yes response will be received in the body with inspired feelings. First, there is an inhalation and an an inhalation. You'll feel your breath kind of expand, and then all of your cells will feel like they're being penetrated with energy. And this is exactly what the I Ching talks about as far as intuition and inspired thoughts. That it's the cosmic consciousness, they call this hexagram penetrating. The cosmic consciousness comes in and penetrates all of your cells. But it must come with an inhalation, an inspired feeling. So to give you an example of what this feels like, you do it all the time. You look at something that you love. For example, I was at the store and I saw these little buckets of little animal figurines, and I thought, and I look at these and I see, I'm looking at this and it makes me feel good. And all of a sudden I breathe in and I feel that, oh, that love. That is your yes response from the universe. Now, I've tested this because in the past, when I've talked to people about getting yes responses in their body, and even myself, I thought it was just an energized feeling that you feel in your solar plexus area, or some kind of energy movement. And this is what I was taught a long time ago. But I found that my yes and my answers did not seem consistent when I just relied on that kind of energetic tingling, okay? So all this week I've been, I listened to this person, and they have a intuition game, and you have to choose what person or what thing the guy is thinking of. Well, all this week I've gotten it right. I mean, like, this shocks me because I never get anything right, but I've been correct this whole week. And I've been correct because I've chosen the answer that combined the inhalation with a little bit of energy movement. And I was wrong when I just relied on the energy movement. You see, I think a lot of people, if you have an awakening or even an aroused Kundalini, when you kind of get in that state of presence, Kundalini starts rising. And I think what I've done in the past is taken that Kundalini energy as a yes response. But I wasn't feeling the inhalation and expansion, that penetration of energy into all of my cells. Okay. And of course, in contrast, a no response will be kind of like deflating. And you know this to be true every time you have an aha moment. Because what is an aha moment? You go, ha. It's an in-breath and kind of an expansion, even though my body is going down, but you go, ha, you see? So this is how you can distinguish between something that's in alignment with your true self, your inner truth, which is in alignment with the cosmos. Do you have that inhalation and expanded energy? Now, here's a word of warning that I've also discovered. The ego and the heart can manufacture feelings that sort of mimic this aha and expansion of energy. But you'll know the difference. So how do I want to say this? if you're trying, let me see, I've just lost my train of thought. I do this quite often. So if we haven't cleared out or opened up our belly area, I'm pointing to the solar plexus, and we still haven't dealt with a lot of fears, then the solar plexus and our astral body is filled with desires based on those fears. Ego desires. Ego desires for recognition, a new job, a new mate, because we have fear that we're not good enough. All right. So we have desires, ego desires, and those ego desires can mask your true heart's desires. So sometimes when you're asking a question, for example, should I don't know, try to start this new business, and you get, because I've done this, you get feelings of excitement, feelings of maybe even fear, but you feel excitement, enthusiasm, or a sense of robustness. That is all an ego response. Now you might be saying, well, you were just talking about this energy penetrating all your cells, and that also is a sense of robustness, but that it's different. It doesn't, there's not a like physicality to it. When the ego is responding, there's a sense of thickness. Don't know how to explain this, but when it's true self answering, it almost feels like a cosmic expansion, and there's no emotion behind it. It's just, oh, and also the ego is not going to answer with an inhalation. So there you go. That's the difference. I just thought of that. Okay, so getting yes/no responses from your body should look like an inhalate. That's easier said. Inhalation and expansion. A no response will be your body starts drooping, like all the puppet strings kind of falling. Ego responses are more excitement and enthusiasm, maybe fear-based. That's it. That's an ego desire most of the time. What else? Also, which may be a topic for another video, it is really the quality of your answer, your question, that determines the quality of your body response. Most of the time when we're asking questions of our higher self, they are coming from the ego. And I will tell you this right now, your higher self will not respond to ego questions. Ego questions garner ego responses. And now you're saying, what are ego questions? That's a topic for another video. It's windy out there. But ego questions, if you already know in your gut that you're going to do something and you go to just confirm it, that's the ego. So you may get confusing answers. And even with the pendulum and things that you use, divination tools, if it's an ego question, the ego can manipulate the energy of the pendulum, your body, if you're doing the body motion, this thing, or even coin throwing. So you have to be really sincere in your questions. But if you already have a feeling that you're going to do something, you're going to get weird responses. And don't re-ask the same question every other day. Are you sure? Should I do this now? If you got like that, an inspired thought, an inspired idea that expanded your breath and made you feel connected to the cosmos, then asking again the next day or the next week whether this is the right thing for you is going to garner this kind of response, because ego is asking. Okay. There you go. I hope you have plenty of aha moments. See you later.